This is WNEP TV 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, Jack Ruland in Skycam 16, meteorologist Tom Clark with his backyard forecast, and Tim Carlson Sports. This is Newswatch 16.
Good evening, I'm Karen Harch. Nolan Johannes has the night off. President Reagan stepped up his war on drugs today by announcing some specific ways to fight back. The president signed an executive order asking all heads of federal agencies to set up mandatory drug testing. Federal employees in so-called sensitive positions will come under the testing program after a 60-day notice. He warned that those found to be using drugs will either be suspended or reprimanded and will have to undergo rehabilitation. The president's plan also backs up part of a House-passed bill calling for the death penalty for some drug-related offenses. His program also calls for spending $500 million on law enforcement to stop smugglers, plus $100 million for anti-drug education in the schools and for rehabilitation. One agency that can really use some government money in the fight against drug and alcohol abuse is the Wyoming Valley Alcohol and Drug Services. Donna Hooper appeared on Newswatch 16 midday today to talk about her agency and what it does to prevent drug and alcohol abuse.
Once we get the awareness, we may get flooded with requests for treatment, with requests for educational programming. If we don't have the money, we can't meet the need.
Along with the money, the government is offering a free handbook to parents and others who want them. Schools Without Drugs is not considered a quick fix, but it gives you strategies for keeping drugs away from young people. You can call toll-free 1-800-624-0100 for a free copy of Schools Without Drugs. Well, in just 4 days, the Kirby Center for the Performing Arts will open in downtown Wilkes-Barre, but not everyone who wants to will be able to see the shows. Newswatch 16's Mark Davis is live now in downtown Wilkes-Barre. What's the problem there, Mark?
Well, Karen, the problem is if you just look behind me here, you see the bus cutouts in front of the new Kirby Center, which is still under construction, but there are no buses, and that is the problem. You see, after 6 o'clock in and around the greater Wyoming Valley, there's only about 4 buses which run, and by 10 o'clock, all the bus service is pretty much over. And under the current schedule, if you wanted to take a bus to see a performance, you just can't do it. The Luzerne County Transportation Authority carries 14,000 people every day. Many of them ride past the new Kirby Center. But with cutbacks and night service, not many will be taking the bus to any performances. Ellen Durko of Wilkes-Barre is a regular bus rider and would like to see a few of the upcoming shows at the Kirby.
Because I'm glad that it's opening up. It's you won't have to go to New York or Philly or anywhere, a place like that. But it's very inconvenient for anybody that doesn't have a ride.
There's no transportation where I live after 25 to 6 is the last bus from the square. And then I'd have to take a cab, and I couldn't afford that.
The LCTA cut back its night service in January because it says after 6 p.m., ridership drops off drastically. Harold Edwards, who directs the bus service, says right now the LCTA can't afford to add buses on the chance some people may ride at night.
With our cutback in funding, it is indeed a problem for us to just put on service that isn't going to be used to its maximum, and that would definitely be the case, at least we feel at this point, with additional evening service.
Now, the door on this additional bus service isn't closed just yet. Harold Edwards tells me that if there's a need that develops over the first couple months of operation with the new Kirby Center, then it's possible something may be worked out. But as of now, if you can't get a ride and don't have a car, probably the best way to get here is take a taxi to the new Kirby. I'm Mark Davis, Newswatch 16, reporting live from Public Square. Karen?
Okay, thank you, Mark. When Newswatch 16 continues, a plan to put a steam-powered tourist attraction on the list of national parks. Plus, later on, an airplane first and the flying mistake that put northeastern Pennsylvania in the aviation history books.
At Pizza Hut, we make our pan pizza with dough made fresh every day, with pure mozzarella cheese and only the finest toppings. So when you've got to have a hot, delicious pizza, we modestly suggest you treat yourself to one of ours. Pizza Hut Pan Pizza.
This is Wile E. Coyote. He's been trying to catch that guy for years. What makes him think he can now? Ah, the Donnelly Directory. It's not the same old yellow pages. It's maps, guides, and coupons. It's a complete, colorful yellow pages that's better and easier to use. Won't he ever learn? Oh, no. Good thinking. The Donnelly Directory. That was close. The Donnelly Directory. It's a better yellow pages and much, much more.
Some VIPs of the federal government were in town today to ride the rails of Steamtown. Officials hope it's the start of something big. Newswatch 16's Valerie Devine is live now in Scranton. Who are the visitors and why were they here, Valerie?
Well, Karen, those visitors were from the National Park Service. They came to Scranton today to visit Steamtown and trying to figure out if Steamtown should become a national park. Now, that's important because if it did become a national park, Steamtown would be run by the federal government, and it would be eligible for federal money. Getting the National Park Service's attention wasn't easy. It took months of hard work by Steamtown General Manager John Hart and Congressman Joseph McDade. But once Park Service Director William Penn Mott had a chance to ride on one of the Steamtown trains and saw what Steamtown is all about, everything else fell in place.
100 years from now, this is going to be history. Maybe right now it's getting to that point.
Mott toured the old rail yards, inspected the old roundhouse, even checked out the old steam engines. In the end, he was very impressed with what he saw.
But it seems to me that from the standpoint of history and from the standpoint of the growth of this country, what you have here and the collection that you've brought together here represents something of national significance, and that's why we would be interested.
Hearing those words, "we would be interested," were just what Steamtown officials were hoping for. General Manager John Hart says one of his most important long-range goals is getting Steamtown included as a national park.
I believe that without the assistance of people like Joe McDade, without the assistance of people like Bill Scranton, who helped us with the state money last week, Steamtown would be very hard-pressed to be able to survive and prosper.
Now, the money John Hart talked about is $250,000 already allocated by the federal government for a feasibility study by the National Park Service. If it all comes together, it could mean big bucks and a secure future for Steamtown. Valerie Devine, Newswatch 16, live with the Instacam in Scranton. Karen?
Thank you, Valerie. They're using heavy equipment today to try to put out a fire burning at the Westside Landfill in Luzerne County. The fire was spotted Thursday night. At first, they tried to put it out with water, but that did not work. Over the weekend, this huge drag line was brought in. They're using it to keep trash away from where the fire is burning to try to keep it from spreading. Digging out the fire could take several days. Officials at the landfill in Plymouth Township say they think the fire started by spontaneous combustion in the garbage there. Well, the Weather Watch is next with our chief meteorologist, Tom Clark. And boy, everyone enjoyed that weekend.
Wasn't it nice?
Oh, spectacular.
The company picnic, it was perfect.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Hey, 1 week left of summer.
That's all.
Just one.
Oh, no.
Just one. When we come back, I'll tell you if it's going to feel at all like summer this week. You're watching Newswatch 16 on WNEP TV, and we're proud to serve Kimball's and all of Pike County.
Now from OMobile Big Savings. Choose all-time low 2.9 annual percentage rate GMAC financing or up to $1,500 cash back, depending on the model you choose. 2.9 or $1,500 cash back on a new 86 Tornado. 2.9 or $750 cash back on a new 86 Delta 88 or 98. 2.9 or $500 cash back on a new 86 Cutlass, Calais or Forenza. Big news, big savings. It's the big one.
Hurry today for 2.9% financing at your nearby Old Friends dealers.
Introducing McDonald's NFL Kickoff Payoff.
Oh boy, a new game at McDonald's! I'm so excited! How do you play?
Collect trading cards of all your favorite NFL stars.
Another card! Is this it? Oh, I got it!
Each card's a winner. Win a McDonald's sandwich, fries, or Coca-Cola.
New winners every week! But you got only 1 week to turn in your winning cards, so hustle!
NFL Kickoff Payoff.
Follow me at McDonald's! I know.
Wilks College is looking for money, millions of dollars, in a major fundraising campaign that officials say is necessary for the future growth of the college. The $18 million fundraiser called Wilks Tomorrow kicked off today, and it will run through 1990. They've already raised $5 million. Some of the money will be used to build a new sports and conference center. Work should begin next spring. And Wilks College officials hope the money will help to keep tuition costs stable.
There is no way to build this region without building higher education. And in this campaign, Wilks is showing its efforts to provide first-rate facilities for this region and for the students of this area.
Attorney Eugene Roth of Wilkes-Barre, a 1957 graduate of Wilks, will head the fundraising drive. Now out to the backyard to meteorologist Tom Clark. I just can't believe summer's almost over.
Oh, boy. Where did it go, Karen?
Yeah, too fast.
And a little too cool, I think. Didn't have very many hot days this summer. We haven't had much rain the past few weeks. If you haven't been watering your garden, your lawn or garden lately, you may have noticed that the grass is changing from green to brown. Only a quarter inch of rain in this backyard since the beginning of the month. I do have some rain to talk about tonight, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Weather Watcher time beginning out in Center County. Lillian Davy in Blanchard has 76 degrees now, partly cloudy skies. Dustin Goldstein in Oliphant reports 65 in his backyard. And Rosemary Hauser in Ringtown, 72 and sunny at this hour. In the backyard now we have some alto cumulus clouds drifting by. 67 degrees, 53% humidity. A comfortable evening. The wind southwest at 4 and the barometer at 30.12, and it's dropping. 68 and 42. Boy, a cold start this morning. The record low still stands of 35. The pollen count today low, 1 up there at Mercy Hospital in Scranton. And there's a view today along the Lackawanna River in Music. Satellite view is coming up next, and we have some cloud cover, a lot of it breaking up a bit over the eastern half of Pennsylvania, some sunshine coming through. A weak storm system here, traveling up over New York State, will drag this cold front through the region tomorrow morning. And about the time you're heading out for work or school, the wind will be shifting to the north ahead of this monster Canadian high. And that represents another invasion of cool autumn-like Canadian air that will begin working its way in tomorrow morning. A chilly day tomorrow with a north-northeast wind, and then a beautiful day shaping up for Wednesday as the high moves in over New York State, and then it moves offshore by Thursday, and it begins warming up again to feel like summer by about Friday. There's the radar view. Some scattered showers now ahead of that cold front in Ohio. Some light rain falling, most of it not even reaching the ground up across New York State. So some of this rain is heading in our direction. So I think after midnight there's a chance, but it won't be much. Less than 1/10 of an inch, I think, in most places tonight as the front moves on through. A dry evening, though. 54 in Kimball's, 52 in Ashley, about 53 in Atlas, 51 Avis. Towanda, a cool start tomorrow at 50. And the breeze shifting from southwest to north by daybreak at about 10 miles per hour. The sunrise for tomorrow morning will occur at 6:44. Give or take a few seconds, sunset 7:12. A nice evening, some sunshine while it lasts, and then increasing cloudiness late tonight, some light rain after midnight, maybe a morning shower tomorrow. 53 by 8 o'clock in the morning, that'll be the low temperature. Then 61, a struggle, a cool, chilly day tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a few breaks of sun in the afternoon, but take along a warm jacket. 65 on Wednesday, a beautiful day, evening for the harvest moon Wednesday night, and then warming up, I think, Karen, to near 80 by about Friday.
Okay, looks good.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom. Tim Carlson is next with the Sports Watch and the new Super 16 high school football rankings, plus the start of a 3-part series on the future Red Barons, where we show you some of the Reading Phillies who could be playing in our area.
Preservatives, no artificial sweeteners, no caffeine. Very, very, very fine. Here's to your health.
How are we going to get through to you? Everybody's out there discounting, couponing, offering to give away the store if you'll just buy their dry little frozen hamburgers. Do we have to shout to let you know how good a deal a Wendys quarter-pound single hamburger is for just 79 cents when you buy regular fries and a medium soft drink? I said 79 cents for a Wendys hot and juicy quarter-pound single hamburger. 79 cents! When you buy regular fries and a medium soft drink. Thank you for your attention.
Seems a lot of high school football teams are fighting for a spot in the Super 16.
Gets tougher every week to do this, Karen, but that's my job.
That's your job.
You know? Except for the top 4 teams, changes abound in this week's Super 16 high school football rankings. Let's take a look at where your team sits. At number 16, the Catasauqua Rough Riders, a new entry this week, undefeated in 2 games. At 15, the Coughlin Crusaders, they also haven't lost in 2 starts. They're new. At number 14, the Lord's Regional Red Raiders, they move up from 16. They're 2-0-1 on the year. At number 13, the Whitehall Zephyrs, new to the group, beating last week's number 5 team, Bethlehem Catholic. At number 12, the Mount Carmel Red Tornadoes, a surprise team from the Eastern Conference South, unbeaten in 3 games and a new entry. At number 11, the Berwick Bulldogs, slowly moving back up. They were 14th last week. At number 10, the Tunkhannock Tigers, up from number 12. This team showing us they're for real. They defeated previously unbeaten Lake Lehman Friday. Number 9, the Lackawanna Trail Lions, up 2 spots from 11th last week after a 1-point win over Wyalusing. At number 8, the Towanda Black Knights. This team is on a 3-0 roll, winning by 21-0 shutout. They move up from number 10. At number 7, the Valley View Cougars, another 3-0 squad. They make a move up from number 9. At number 6, the Stroudsburg Mountaineers. They move up 2 spots after a 21-0 win over Notre Dame East Stroudsburg. At number 5, the Sealands Grove Seals. This team started the year with a win over Berwick and hasn't looked back. They're 3-0 after beating Shikellamy 41-2. At number 4, the GAR Grenadiers, they're 3-0. Another 3-0 team, the Marion Catholic Colts. At number 2, the Milton Black Panthers. They are perfect in 3 games. And number 1 again, the Williamsport Millionaires, last week's top team. They won by 18 over their opponents. So far, they put 97 points on the board while giving up just 10. Let's talk baseball for a second. A lot of people are wondering who some of the players will be next year when the Red Barons, the new Phillies AAA minor league team, begins to play in this area. Well, SportsWatch 16 was wondering also. So we traveled to Reading, where the Phil's AA minor league team plays, to check out some of the kids who may make the move up here next year. Today, John Evans has a look at 2 of those players in part 1 of a 3-part series, Future Red Barons.
Marvin Freeman, Jim Olander, Keith Miller, Kevin Ward, and Ken Jackson. They're not exactly household names yet, but when the Phillies AAA team begins playing next year in our area, they might become well-known in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Of course, what these kids do in spring training next year is the big thing. That'll tell whether these Reading Phillies, the AA kids of this year, become the AAA Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Red Barons of next season. Jim Olander led the Eastern League in hitting this past season, batting .325. An injury kept him out of the playoffs, and since the Phillies are loaded with outfielders on the major league level, Olander might end up playing AAA with the Barons. He says he doesn't mind.
Sure, I'm sure that would inspire everybody that would get a chance. You know, that might give everybody else that, you know, might not have a chance to make that AAA team any more of an incentive to want to go there next year.
Right-hander Marvin Freeman won 13 games in Reading this year, leading the league with 113 strikeouts. He's pitching for the Major League Phillies Tuesday against the Pirates. Playing in the new stadium would be inviting to Freeman, but like every minor league player, he hopes to stick with the big league club.
It's always good to know that people want to see you, and it makes me feel pretty good, you know, knowing that I'm wanted, you know, somewhere, and hopefully I won't get a chance to play there.
Olander and Freeman are trying to become major league ball players, but the road to Philadelphia just might include a stop in Wilkes-Barre-Scranton. John Evans, SportsWatch 16, Reading.
Tomorrow, 3 more guys from Reading who have a good shot at playing for our Red Barons next year.
Okay, good series.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, Tim. When Newswatch 16 continues, we'll take to the air to celebrate the anniversary of a big adventure in airplane history.
Since 1896, Kaplan Furniture of Scranton has been delivering quality furniture into northeastern Pennsylvania's homes. Kaplan still stands out as a star above the rest.
Bernhard combines elegant styling with quality construction to bring you traditional masterpieces at a savings of 25%. Choose from hundreds of fabrics and many styles. All these traditional pieces are 8-way, hand-tied quality construction, durable as well as beautiful. Sofas start at $6.99.
Kaplan Furniture Company of Scranton, a star above the rest.
Where does great beer taste come from? It comes from way up here, from the north, from the rich heart of Canada. Because this is where the taste of Black Label was born. Rich, full body, and now brewed right here in America with the crisp, fresh taste of Canada. That's where the taste of Black Label comes from. Enjoy Black Label. Great Canadian heritage at a great American price.
Finally tonight, this week marks the 75th anniversary of one of the big adventures in airplane history. In 1911, a man did something in an airplane that no one had ever done before, and along the way he flew through our area. Newswatch 16's Mark Anik has the story of a plane called the Vinfizz.
Today, it hangs in a museum, the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., sort of a national closet where we tuck away airplane memories. But not too many people remember the plane called the Vinfizz, or the man who was her pilot. Had he captained a ship, his name might have been Columbus. If rockets were his game, perhaps Armstrong. But Calvert Perry Rogers came after one and before the other. His vehicle was the airplane, built by someone named Orville Wright, sponsored by a grape soda company. And while Vinfizz soda went nowhere, the Vinfizz airplane became the first to cross the United States. On September 17, 1911, Cal Rogers took off from Long Island, New York. Destination, Long Beach, California. If he could make it, he'd win a $50,000 prize. Rogers navigated by what they called iron compass. He followed the railroad tracks. Down on those tracks, a train carrying his crew and a spare plane followed along. More than once, he would need the spare. But crash as he might, he continued following the tracks until he reached a point near Hancock, New York. There, he made a mistake that brought him our way.
We are flying over the same spot that Cal Rogers flew over that day to show you the error that he made. Now, Rogers was following the Erie Railroad tracks from east to west. You can see the tracks right down there. The Erie tracks are the ones that cross over the top of that viaduct. Now, Rogers should have continued to follow those tracks. Underneath the viaduct, there's another set. That is the Delaware and Hudson Railroad. Rogers followed the D&H tracks instead.
And followed until he flew over Carbondale. A 7.5-year-old Malcolm Wheeler was walking to school when the plane flew over.
It took an awful long while to go that distance through the sky. I know that. I would say 40, 50 miles an hour. I don't know, maybe even slower.
Rogers landed in Carbondale and asked for directions to bring him to New York. Someone pointed south, and Rogers ended up in Troop. 90-year-old Gene McAndrew was just a teenager when the plane landed here.
We were flying to all down in Dunmore. About 15 of us when we heard that the plane landed up here.
So McAndrew and his friends each paid 8 cents and rode the streetcar out to an open field. Today, there's a business here, but McAndrew still remembers that day, that plane, and the pilot.
I couldn't say enough for him. He was very outgoing, and he just treated everybody real well.
Rogers took off from Troop and landed again in Scranton before starting north. He would make one more stop in our area, in Great Bend. Here, a little girl named Elsie Alexander came running out to see the plane.
Did you think it would make it back up in the air?
No, I did not. I thought, well, how can that thing fly? That's what I thought. It was so fragile. You'd wonder how it would ever fly.
But the plane did fly again, and Elsie probably helped. You see, Cal Rogers remembered the long hair she had back then. He wrote Elsie a letter saying he could see the hair guiding him in bad weather. Elsie and the letter are part of a book on the Vinfizz. The story has a bittersweet ending, though. 49 days and 19 crashes later, Rogers became the first to fly coast to coast. A short time after that, he died in another crash and became just a footnote in air history. 75 years later, this man wants to turn that footnote back into a headline. We'll tell you his story tomorrow. Mark Anik, Newswatch 16.
And that is Newswatch 16 for tonight. Be sure to join us tonight on the update after the football game. For the team, including Nolan, who has the night off, thanks for joining us. Enjoy your evening.
When you see news, you can shoot news for Newswatch 16. If we use a videotape story you shot, we'll pay you and mention your name on the air. But we can't use your tape unless you're a part of the Newswatcher network. For information, write Newswatcher, WNEP TV, Wilkes-Barre Scranton Airport, Avoca, Pennsylvania, 18641.